for leaders, it's very important for them to kind of realize or come to the realization on their own that not everybody is like them. They're going to be leading a team of very diverse sets of thinkers, communicators, behavior styles. People are going to be in different levels of their careers, or, want different things out of their careers. No matter who it is, I think a lot of the times it is a few things it always boils down to in most of the coaching clients that I have seen. Doesn't matter what level they're at. It's almost always to do with either a fear of some kind, or it has to do with a lack of communication or a lack of empathy. They're waiting for that job offer, and then they get it and they're like, I should just take it, right? Because I've been looking for so long. And I'm like, don't just take it.
Hello, and welcome, our dear listeners, to my podcast, Love People Technology Learning. And I'm your energetic host, Tamara Kacharova, CEO LaneCI. And today we are excited to have with us Lisa Spinelli, a dynamic leader in the career development and executive coaching. Lisa is the owner and founder of Blue Pinecone Consulting LLC, where she empowers professionals in career transitions and leadership roles. She's an International Coaching Federation ICF credentialed coach and adjunct instructor at George Mason University, and the host of the TV show Job Hunt DC. Lisa, welcome to my show.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's so good to be here.
Yes, and you are like a sun, you have so much energy, and I love it. I see you just a couple minutes, and I feel your energy, and it's really important in our remote life work, and when we are just in online and virtual with our camera. Yes, thank you for this energy. I feel it.
You too. I feel it back and forth. We're like two stars in the sky. If we get too close, we're gonna explode, right?
Yes, and all my episodes are about a career journey of my guests, and first question always about your career path. And Lisa, I know that you'd had quite a diverse career path, starting in HR and journalism before moving into coaching and talent development. What inspired you to make these transitions, and how have your past experiences shaped your approach to coaching and leadership development? Share with us your career journey.
Yeah. It's been, a crazy ride, right? And I have to say, maybe if I had known that I'm a little bit ADD to begin with, I might have been better off. But I did definitely switch a few jobs, that's for sure. So I started off doing HR. Actually, I started off doing copywriting for advertisements out of college. Then I was laid off, went into HR. I really liked HR, but my friend started a music magazine in the area, and I started writing for her magazine. And I was like, oh, this is actually a lot more fun. Maybe I want to do this. So then I applied to Columbia Journalism School in New York, and I went up to New York, and I loved journalism for a little while. And then I wound up marrying my now husband and moved more into content marketing, that sort of area. And then when I got into ATD, I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's kind of like what I want to be doing, more of coaching and talent development sort of stuff. But I could take my experience with content and journalism. And so it was like what I call a bridge role into doing all of the work that I'm doing now. And so I think a lot has influenced me from having a lot of diverse career opportunities throughout my lifetime, and working in a lot of different organizations has given me a good perspective on, hey, what makes a good workplace? What makes a good workplace culture? What makes a good leader? So I had a good wealth of experience to draw from to be able to become a career coach. And especially so many transitions in my life from moving from Italy to America and then moving back to Italy. And I mean, I've moved back and forth a bunch of times, but also as a military spouse, and then being in different organizations in different industries has also been like lots of career transitions. So it's been a lot of transitions over the lifetime that I have always felt like this big pull towards helping people through change, and whether that's career change or life changes. So that has really influenced a lot of my coaching now.
Yeah, and I think like it's really my like own opinion about that journalism has to be with a critical thinking. And I think it's really great to be a coach after the journalism and marketing thinking. Like it's great connection, like to talk to people and ask the perfect questions, because like coaching is about like is about questions, like just you
Yeah.
need to ask and wait answer. And yes, and I love it. And
Well, don't say anything's perfect, because trust me when I tell you, I don't think anything's perfect going on here right now. But it's
it's like
all, yeah.
perfect question. I agree, because nothing perfect in our life. And like to be a mom of three kids, you are to be an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, and like to be in a different roles. I understand that's like a perfectionism and perfect life. It's not my choice.
Yeah.
It's something, yeah, it's something different. It's true. Yeah, and like you are working a lot with the people in coaching. And like you have like so great like transition career path. What are some common challenges professionals face during career transitions, and how do you help them overcome these obstacles? Because right now it's a time when people change their life like every day, because our world is so crazy, and everything, like a lot of happens every day at work in the world. And yeah, can you share your ideas about that?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the times it kind of, so first of all, it sort of depends on if you're choosing the change or if the change is thrust upon you, right? So I dealt with a lot of people who were laid off in the last year and a half. So that is more almost working through the stages of grief. Like some of the people were very upset, as if they had lost something very valuable. I mean, of course, it's their job, so it's valuable. In essence, it's their financial well-being, but also people had been working at these organizations for sometimes decades and then laid off. So it was like an extreme loss to them. And so working through kind of those stages of anger and sadness and realization and acceptance was part of their journeys. And then for, other people who are choosing to change, a lot of the times there's these beliefs that are kind of ingrained in people. And maybe it's because of it used to be one way to change a career or to go through a life change, and things have definitely evolved and changed throughout the years on how to deal with those kinds of changes. So for like career transitions, for instance, if someone's looking to do that, a lot of the times people would go online and just apply for jobs repeatedly, and that's no longer really the case, because everybody after COVID is applying for everything everywhere, all remote,
Mm-hmm.
all hybrid. So those sorts of things have really changed and evolved. And then people going through life changes, there's this huge loneliness epidemic going on in the world, really, not just the
Absolutely.
country. Yeah, and ever since especially COVID, people are more isolated than ever. And so going through a lot of these changes on their own, they feel very lonely. So I don't know if that's necessarily something very different, but it's more pronounced to me than it has been in the past for people. So yeah, there's just like a big difference too, if it's someone who's opting in for a change on their own and they're excited about it, or
Mm-hmm.
someone who's kind of more sad about the change happening to them.
I have I'm really curious. What do you think about what we need to do, like to accept our changes faster? Like what we need to do, what we need to think about, what we need, maybe like some mantras or routines, like because all the changes, of course, the different you mentioned right now. If you have, like, if you lay off process, it's one change. If you want to do it by yourself, it's another one. But like all the changes are different for us. And what do you think, what we need to do, or what we need to think about, like to accept these changes faster?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things, like definitely mindset, right? Having more of that kind of growth mindset. That there are lessons to be learned, and maybe it's not always what you want it to be or what you had it pictured in your head, but having that growth mindset, but also the ability to be adaptable and resilient, which includes a little bit of positivity too. So, I mean, that is one of my number one Clifton strengths is positivity, which, yeah, I know I can be like obnoxiously positive about
Yes.
things. So I try not to be toxically positive about things sometimes. I think there's also, there is that allowance for, like, you do need that time. People need that time to mourn their loss, or like allowed to kind of process those emotions, but not to get stuck in a cycle where you are constantly revisiting those
Yeah.
emotions, because that's not productive and that doesn't help you to really move forward. So if you get stuck in that cycle, that's when it's like, okay, you need to have some kind of intervention happening. But if you have developed out more of a growth mindset and you have tried to develop your adaptability, your resilience, then these things, I mean, in life, like there's always a constant change. Something that's unexpected is going to happen. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's
And
alive.
yeah, being able to deal with that and move on, and maybe even make it something, even out of tragic situations I've seen, there's positive things that can happen. It's not to negate the things that have happened to you or the trauma, but to like turn things into something else, because otherwise what's the alternative? Then you're spinning in that circle.
Yeah, yes, yes. Thank you for sharing. And right now, I want to talk to you about your coaching, like your leadership and executive coaching experience. And as an ICF credentialed coach, like me too.
Mm-hmm.
Many years ago, it was like, oh my God, yes, it was. I think it was 13 years ago when
Oh
I
wow.
certified, yeah, in ICF.
So
And
you got
what
certified when you were 5? What? How is this possible?
Yes, yes,
Here we
in my
go.
five,
Yeah.
at my five. Thank you, thank you, Lisa. Oh my God, yes. And what core, like one piece of your philosophy? I got it right now. It's positive, like positive mindset. And what
Hmm.
core philosophies guide your coaching practice, especially when working with the rising managers and leaders who change a lot in their lives, like every day? Yes,
Yeah.
can you share your philosophy?
My philosophy. I think part of my philosophy or like value set has to do with, yeah, definitely for myself, positivity, although I know most people are not built the same way that I am. I only know this because most people are like, wow, you're so bubbly all the time. Oh, okay, I guess not everybody is like this. Um, so I think
Yeah.
having that like diversity of perspective. So understanding, and this was something that like I learned myself early on, is that like not everybody thinks like you, not everybody is going to process things the way that you do. So for leaders, it's very important for them to kind of realize or come to the realization on their own that not everybody is like them. They're going to be leading a team of very diverse sets of thinkers, communicators, behavior styles. People are going to be in different levels of their careers, or, want different things out of their careers. And so helping people to kind of work through that you might be a leader of a team and you want everybody to be exactly like you, but that's probably not going to happen. Um, And then I
Right.
do a big focus on communication, because I do believe that like the foundation of almost any good relationship or almost anything is really being able to communicate um openly, but like also respectfully, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you want
Right.
to say what's
Yes.
on your mind but not be a jerk about it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And how my therapist, like every practice which I have with her, she remind me, Tamara, just communicate. Like tell you need to talk and listen. And it's a true, it's the biggest part of our life, and it's a glue between people and between
Yeah.
everything what happens around us. Yes, it's true.
Hmm.
I love it. I totally agree. And like, can you share a success story where your coaching made a like significant impact on your on a client's career or leadership journey? Because like, you know, I love success story. I love failure story too, like, to be honest. But like, can you share your success story? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's our life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know the failure stories sometimes are fun too. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the career transition people, I think I have loved to work with them, because at the end of the day, almost all of them, they find a job, right? So, and a lot of the times it is something that they're very excited about. So there are a few instances that stick out for people that they were really afraid to apply for something that was a little bit of a stretch, or they were nervous about their interviews, or even afterwards, they're like waiting for that job offer, and then they get it and they're like, I should just take it, right? Because I've been looking for so long. And I'm like, don't just take it. You got to check out, remember what it is that
Yes,
your
hold
values
on.
and yeah. So,
Yes,
I
yes.
always love it when somebody has been able to, and there were a couple women in particular, which I'm not gonna say anything sexist, but like a lot of the times women undersell themselves when they're going in for a job and they
Mm-hmm.
get an offer. A lot of the times I have noticed, and there's some research to back this up too from people way before me, that show women usually they'll try to meet almost 100% of the requirements before they apply for a job, and then even after they're given a job offer will take and not negotiate hardly anything at all. So to help them, and especially like one in particular who was a single mom, to get that higher pay, to get the extra benefits, to get the extra time off, that was like meaningful to me, to be able to have her take charge and get what she needed out of it. So yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I saw it in your LinkedIn profile, and right now we talked a little about that because I know that you're a mom of three daughters. How old are
Mhm.
they?
14, 12, and 10.
And 10. Yes, I have three sons, 9,
Mhm.
7, and 3,
Oh
like
yeah.
the same age. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, as the mother of three daughters, like, please share how your experience of motherhood has helped you in coaching, in your maybe career and your professional development. Do you see any connection between motherhood and coaching or professional development? Like, what do you
Oh
see?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think, it's so good to have gone through a coaching program. And I did it during COVID, so it was a really good time, cuz everybody was stressed out, but
Yeah.
then, we had lots of things of course at home happening, cuz all the three kids were at home. I was at home, my husband was at home. So it was really good to be going through that kind of program. And I think it's made me a better mom too, to and vice versa, right? Because as a mom, like you have to be emotionally in control, at least most of the time. We all lose our stuff once in a while, but when they push us to the edge. But you have to, and especially as an Italian mother, I will say,
Is it different? Is it different?
yeah, the emotions have always been strong in this one. So let me tell you.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I have not had good luck holding back my tongue or my emotions in the past.
Yeah.
So it has taught me a whole new level of restraint. And that has, I think, also helped during coaching to, I can notice the triggers that may happen or the judgments that are popping up in my head and being
Mm-hmm.
able to just quiet them down. And also, like your kids, you have this vision of what your kids will be, right? And then they come out and they're nothing like what you thought was going to
Yeah.
be your kids. So having like those different perspectives, even with the kids and their different individuality, from one even to the next, and understanding that with like everybody's a person. So these coaching clients come and I know nothing about them. I have to like have no expectations, try to calm all the judgments. And then on the other side, like I think having those coaching kind of mindset and questioning and active listening has helped with the girls too, because I can now understand better ways to communicate with them and like,
Yes.
you know, and not just be like my parents who were like, this is what you're going to do and I don't care how
Yes.
you're feeling.
It was, it was another time. It was
Yeah,
like a
sure.
different, yes, different time. And I remember my childhood the same, and like just direction and not
Yep.
choice. Or if I had choice, like a feedback was just like bad or good. It's like I did not have opportunity to talk about that. And like, yes, it's just, yeah, but it was, yes, another time. And we are,
Hmm.
I think, another parents, and we are another parents generation right now, because
Right.
internet connection and everything, what happens with us in technology, uh, develop our kids.
Right.
And if you wanna if you wanna save the connection between you and your kids, like it's just communication. It's just
Hmm.
like you should have like special connection between you and your children. It's true.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really true. And like you mentioned, so interesting, like I'm really curious about just one point. What's you really love to be Italian, mom? Like maybe one thing what you really love, and it's different, because I always talk to my guests about culture code, and all of us, we have a like special culture code, and it's a different, yeah, one thing. It's I'm really curious. And
Yeah, and maybe it is because they're girls, but we are all like very loving,
ah,
So,
yes.
yeah, and it drives my husband crazy because he's more of like German and like English descent.
So straight,
So,
yeah.
he's not as touchy feely. Like they have to be on top of me or touching some part of my head, my shoulders,
Yes.
they're on top of me all the time. So sometimes we'll be sitting somewhere and they're just piled on me like I'm part of a sandwich.
Yes, yeah,
But I
yeah.
love it. I think like, at some point you need to have a little space, but I do love having all of
Yes.
the love and the warmth all around. So I think part of the Italian culture is very touchy feely. I mean, we kiss
Oh,
everybody we meet. So
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. Welcome to my home, Lisa. Welcome with your girls, because my boys are the same. It
Oh,
will be
that's
great
great.
connection.
Yeah. That's funny
Yes,
because I
because I'm
normally
not,
hear from boy moms that they don't get that. So I'm glad
yeah,
that you're getting it.
but like my blood, half of Armenian, and
Mhm.
Armenian, it's like South blood. It's different. And my mom, she's Russian, and it's a
Mhm.
mix too. And I'm really a lovely person. Like I really, and my boys too. Yes, it's true. Welcome to my home in
Can't wait.
South Florida. Yeah. And my next question will be like a little serious about executive coaching, because like as an executive coach, what's the biggest challenge you faced when working with the top level company executives, and what has helped you overcome this challenge right now in this era, in this life and world? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, it all, no matter who it is, I think a lot of the times it is a few things it always boils down to in most of the coaching clients that I have seen. Doesn't matter what level they're at. It's almost always to do with either a fear of some kind, like fear of the unknown, fear of looking bad, some kind of fear around themselves, or it has to do with a lack of communication or a lack of like empathy. So at any level that I have seen for people, it is almost always boiling down to the same things. For executives, most of the ones that I have dealt with have either been in technology or they've been in
Oh,
the federal
wow.
government.
Yeah.
And technology, of course, they're always dealing with lots of change and that unknown, which they're used to most of the time, but handling that in a way where they are communicating very well with everyone, that's always the challenge I have found, is that communication piece from executives. And then the communication piece, yeah, definitely within the federal government too. It's a lot of that. Okay, well, you said this to me. Did you say that to your team? Well, no, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, why not?
Yes.
Why, what are you afraid of saying, and how can we rephrase these things? So, yeah, a lot of it has to do with the empathy, the communication, and then overcoming some kind of fear that is out
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yes. Okay. And my next question about technology, because like you're a career coach and an executive coach, and in today's tech-driven world, especially with the rise of AI and various technological solutions enabling AI-based coaching, mentoring, like training, what are your thoughts on how this is advancing the industry as a whole, and how do you see the role of live real-time human coaches evolving? Because I saw a lot of, like, I do research every week in my LinkedIn profile about AI, or like about technological tools from all over the world for
Hmm.
learning and development, and I
Yeah.
see a lot of AI driven like tools for
Mhm.
coaching,
Yep.
for sure, for mentoring and everything. What do you think about
Yeah.
that? Because it's
That's
your
so funny.
professional.
Yeah. Yeah, because yesterday, so I'm the chairperson for the George Mason University Coaching Alumni Committee, and then we just had our conference yesterday online, and the topic was AI and coaching. And so we were talking about, lots of different tools that are out there. And I think that's really the thing that everybody is kind of saying, right? Like, yes, we need to be able to use these tools to help us in our professions. It's not agnostic of any profession. Like, all of us, no matter what we're doing, we're going to have to be able to use these tools to make us better at what we do. But the humanizing aspect of what we do, the humanistic aspect, like, yes, there are coaching tools out there, but they're very much driven towards a result. Like, hey, I have this problem, I need an answer. And that's not the kind of coaching that like I do, that ICF would sanction as like real coaching. So there is a big difference, I think, right now in what's being offered as quote unquote coaching, and then
Mm-hmm.
what actual coaches do. But I think there's a number of tools that are out there that can make us better coaches. Like, I can't remember the names of any of them, but there was one that I did see at the ICF conference at Converge last year. And that one really caught my attention because it listens and it can pick up on the ICF core
Mm-hmm.
competencies and mark, like, hey, you did this at this level, you did this at this level. Here's, how many questions you asked and how much you talked as the coach versus the client. So here's how you could be better and here's
Mm-hmm.
some suggestions. So I think those kinds of tools are great. And I think we're going to see more and more, of course, of those out there. But I also think, just like anything else with AI, that accountability piece is kind of scary. Like, okay, it has your data, it has this information happening. Who is ensuring that this confidential client coach relationship information is not going out and being communicated with other AI bots or being stored somewhere without us knowing, or, so there is this accountability piece that is kind of shaky right now. And what if you're using a coaching tool and it gives you the wrong information and you say it? Are you held accountable, or is the AI held accountable? Like, so there's some sticky situations that are out there right now
Mm-hmm.
still.
Yeah, and we need a time, like always, we need a time to develop, like because I've been in learning technology over, I think, 11 years, and I know that we need the time to develop some kind of new technology. And like, yes, but it's true, it's our life, and like every day something happens in our industry too, and we need to prepare ourselves and need to
Yeah.
protect like our information and like everything. And like I think the vendors who develop different kinds of tools, they need, like they should think about that. And like, yeah, I know that's a lot of things happens in this industry too, how to protect people, how to save
Right.
humanity, and like, yes.
Yeah. Save humanity, please.
Absolutely, yes.
We're going to
Yeah,
need it.
and yeah, and I know you're founder of your own company. What motivated you to found Blue Pinecone Consulting, and what services do you offer through your company? And
Yeah, thank
yes,
you.
what do you love to do there?
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, pretty much I'm doing the same things that we're talking about. Lots of coaching, training, and then I have like a network of coaches that are also all ICF certified. I think there's only one that's like IPEC, but same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we are trying to find more contracts where like there are bigger organizations that need more than just like me as one coach, and need a bunch of coaches for their leaders. So the reason why I kind of started the company was I was at an e-learning or learning experience platform company, and I kind of just, I mean, they were going through a lot of changes, lots of layoffs, lots of everything. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing what I wanted to be doing here. I'm not feeling the way that I wanted to be feeling here. I want to go and do something more in line with what I was hoping to do with like career development and training and coaching. And so I left that role and I just started kind of doing things on my own. And this just started happening on its own. So I didn't have like a set plan. Like I want to go out and I'm going to do my own thing. But that's
Mm-hmm.
the way by maybe month 5 or 6, I was like, okay, this is the way it's shaping up. And I was really enjoying myself. So I was like, okay, let's just see how this can go. So things have been going well, and the whole network of coaches started happening because, as you know, working remotely, you sometimes are left by yourself. You're doing some of this Zoomish kind of video conferencing talks. But yeah, I wanted to create more of like a community, a network around myself. And so that was part of the thought process around having coaches and helping them land more gigs, and then also at the same time having them around so that they can be my friends. I just wanted to buy my friends here.
Yes, I love it. And what's your personal, what do you think, what's your personal mission in your company and in your professional life?
Hmm. Well, one of my best friends had said to me a while ago that he thought that I make other people want to be the best versions of themselves.
Of
So I
themselves.
have always like kept that in my head and my heart, because I felt like that was the sweetest thing that anybody had ever said to me. And I really like that sticks with me. Like I want to help other people become the best version of themselves in their work with what they do for work and how they are at work, but also, just in general to
Yeah.
help them be better.
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing. And I know you mentioned today too that you are military spouse, and
Yeah.
I know it. Yes, and I have like you are my like I don't remember a woman who was a military spouse in my podcast, and you are my first guest.
Yeah.
Yes, and
All right.
I really want to ask you about some special question. It's like as a military spouse and advocate, what unique challenges do veterans and military spouses face in the job market, and how do you support them? Because I know that's like you are in community or like maybe and maybe like can you discuss any specific programs or initiatives you've been involved in that support this community? Maybe you have your own experience.
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of, well, military spouses face some of the same challenges, but a little bit different too than the veterans. A lot of the times, veterans have like a long history doing a bunch of different things in the military because they switch out their titles and roles very often, especially the longer you've been in. So when they get out, a lot of the times there is this big like, oh, what do I do with all this experience? How does it translate into something for the civilian world? So actually, with when my husband was going through his transitions, and he had a number of them, so I wound up going to Fort Belvoir, and I was working at ATD at the time. And I
Yeah.
was like, they do lots of training at every base. There must be something that is in alignment with ATD and with the military. And so I got started through the USO there, which I'm ashamed to admit I don't even remember what the USO stands for now. But it's the USO. Everybody knows USO, and they have on almost every base some kind of readiness center is what it's called. So it's like a big space. I was able to create these workshops called Troops to Trainers, so it helped to let people know who were leaving the military and their spouses too, if they wanted to go into L&D or training, coaching, any of those sorts of fields that are involved in L&D, that they could find out more about it. And we had these 1-day workshops that they could come and learn a little bit more. So that was one thing that I was doing. And I was working with Hiring Our Heroes a little bit on a volunteer basis to help as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so just not like a ton of stuff. I'm also involved in the Army coaching leadership program, so I helping with, and some of those people are looking to transition as well. So that's some of the work that I've done in that space, but always like advocating for more help in that area, especially for military spouses. They get really left behind a lot of the times because
Yeah.
the service member is moving and changing jobs.
Yes.
Their
Yeah,
careers are
absolutely.
progressing, but then the military spouses have to like give up their jobs a lot of the
Absolutely.
times.
Yes,
Now
absolutely.
with remote work, it's a little bit better, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still challenging for a lot of
Challenging.
them.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, thank you for sharing. And today you mentioned a lot, like I did not tell to our listeners about your experience in ATD. What's your favorite, what was your favorite part of your work in ATD and for your like career journey? And like yes, what's your, because I'm not sure, but you was a director of some like content creation or something like that. Like true or
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, sort of. Well, the titles there are all a little funky, but it was like senior content manager, but
yeah.
it was it was like a crazy kind of role. So we did lots of like conferences. I started the podcast, The Accidental Trainer, there. I helped to write a book there. And one of the things that I did was the Troops to Trainers, which that was really big for me. I really enjoyed doing those
Mm-hmm.
with the USO. But I also really liked doing the ATD Career Center that was at the international conference, which is, huge. Like,
Yes, absolutely. The
yeah.
biggest in the world. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah,
one.
and it
Yeah.
was so much fun because, I'm like big extrovert, so there's all these people coming in, they need help, and I'm like, "Yes, all these people." And then we
Yes.
had coaches, so the ICF sponsored the Career Center every year that I was there, and so I got to work closely with ICF global people, and they were just amazing to work with. And so working with the coaches and having people sign up for coaching, and then organizing like all the sessions and things that were going on in the career center, made me realize that I really I enjoy doing events, and so have
Mm-hmm.
done a bunch of extra events
Yeah.
within ATD and then outside of ATD.
Yes, thank you so much. And Lisa, my podcast, it's not just about a professional journey of my guests. It's about like personality, and we talked a lot today about to be humans. It's why I ask personal questions my guests, and my first not professional question will be, I know that when you are not working, you love throwing dance parties with your family. And
Yeah.
I remember from your LinkedIn, when I'm not working, I can be found throwing dance parties in my pasta riddled kitchen with my three daughters and hilarious USAF disabled veteran husband. How
Yes.
did that tradition start, and what does it mean to you and to your family?
Oh yeah. Well, I used to be a big dancer back, back a
Oh,
few
wow.
years ago.
When you was 5, I remember.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, so I used to love, that was my thing, was to go out dancing all the time. So, now being a mom, and it's almost impossible for me to stay awake longer than midnight. So the
Yeah.
dancing does not happen as much as I would like. So we dance in the kitchen. It started actually probably more in the living room when they were little, and especially if my husband was gone, then it was like all the girl music, like
Yes,
Icona
yeah.
Pop or
Yeah.
Cindy Lauper or whatever, like
Yeah.
blasting, and we'd be all dancing. And yeah, it's just so much fun, especially with the little ones. When now my oldest one loves to tell me how bad I am at dancing, although
Oh
she
my God, really?
has
It's
no
it's a
rhythm.
time.
That's
It's a
okay.
time. It's a time.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah, so
love
we
it.
just have fun.
I love it. And I have like this I have boys, but like it's
Mm.
the same. We love dancing, and we have the rule because we are different in our music. Like I love one kind of music. My boys,
Uh-huh.
like all of them, like each of them love different kinds of music, and we
Uh-huh.
have the rule like one song from me, one song from
Oh.
Clayton, one song from. Yes, and it's so diverse, and
Uh-huh.
and we can dance different kind of style dancing together. It's
Oh,
like
that's
it
fun.
makes, yes, it's really fun, and like yeah,
Yeah.
it's great tradition. I love
They
it too.
don't
I
love
love it.
my music because I like more house music, and they
Yeah.
or break beats. And whenever I play that kind of music, they're like, "What is this horrible music you're playing?"
Yes,
But
but like
yeah.
we have the rule, and it makes our diverse, like yeah,
Hmm.
because like we can listen different kinds of style which all of us like prepare and love, and like yeah, we can share it. And yes, I think it's great tradition too. It's really good for families. Yes, I love it.
Hmm.
And as a coach, entrepreneur, and mother, how do you find balance in managing your professional responsibilities and family life? Are there any routines or rituals that help you stay grounded? Because I know it's so hard to be in a different roles like every day. Yeah, it's
Yeah. It's called coffee and wine. That's
yeah.
how it works.
I love it. Coffee in the morning, wine in
That's
the
right. It's
evening.
coffee,
Great.
exercise, work with, I have like notebooks, notebooks. I'm like, forget it. It's not maybe very tree environmentally friendly, but like there's a notebook for everything. Um, and then sometimes if I have the time to like plug everything into the calendar and everything else too. But no, yeah, there has to be a little bit of a routine almost, because otherwise I am so like I have too many things going on and my brain
Yeah,
is always like
absolutely.
going in too many different directions that like I have to force myself to be focused a little bit, or yeah, the whole house of cards will fall down.
Yeah. Yes, I love it. I need to remember coffee and wine.
Coffee and wine, yeah.
Yes. As someone who's helped others grow, how do you approach your personal growth and development? Are there any practices you follow for self improvement book? Like, I don't know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I do like to journal. I have like ever since maybe I was 5, 6 years old. Although I have to say, I had a really big potty mouth very early on. I mean, all kinds of curse words from the time I was 7 years old in the books. But yeah, I've always found that journaling, especially if I have a lot going on, getting it all out there, and then that helps me decide like, okay, which way do I need to go with things. That has always been very helpful for me. And then I love podcasts too. Like I love the Happiness Lab with Dr. Lori Santos. I love that one. I love the Whitney Johnson's Disrupt Yourself. There's a bunch of other ones. I used to really like this other one from this actor. It was called 10,000 No's. Sometimes it got more into like the acting stuff, but his was really good too. And then a friend of mine had this one for a while called Network Wise that I really liked too, from Adam Connors. But I think he stopped doing it a while ago. So I like to like, and of course yours. Everybody loves yours.
Of course, for
Of
sure.
course. So,
Yes.
I like podcasts, but ever since COVID it's been tougher because I can only listen to them when I'm doing like a walk maybe or something, but
Yeah.
I'm not in the
Yeah.
car
Yeah.
as much as I used to be, so it's yeah, it's tougher to listen to all of the ones that I want to.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you. And Lisa, in the end of my
Mhm.
podcast, I have three questions. It's the same questions for
Okay.
all my guests. The
Okay.
same.
Mine will
First
be the
question.
best answers.
Yes, for
Of
sure.
course.
What was first question? What was the last thing you asked ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or I don't know
Yeah.
Microsoft Copilot? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Chat GPT. And I asked it what was better to do, a 1 day conference or 2 half days? And the answer
Oh,
was 2 half days.
2 half days for
Yeah,
sure. For sure. I think
for
so
sure.
too. Yes. Yeah. Because like 1 day concentration, like it's so hard for us and
Yeah,
like to be in the moment for like 8 hours. Like yeah, it's so
exactly.
hard. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question. Tell your favorite quatrain or lyrics and explain why exactly you
Mm.
choose it and you love it.
So there are two songs that always make me cry. And one of them is My Girl. And I changed it to be My Girls because for my little one, well, my oldest one now, when she was little, I used to sing it to her while I would hold her and rock her. And so, yeah, that. And then the other two came along and I would sing it to them and then we would sing it together and hug and dance together. So yeah, that one is always one of my favorites for sure.
Yes, I love it. And third question. Ask the next guest. On my podcast, here's how it goes. Every guest get to throw a question at the next guest, and I believe it adds a unique touch, allowing the previous guest to pose a question to the next one. Phoenix Cavalier was my wonderful guest, and he passed on his question to you. Are you ready to answer?
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yes.
When do you recall a complete failure of technology and how did you overcome it? So I'm thinking of those times and you're like, that did not go as planned.
So he's thinking of those times, and you're like, that did not go as planned, and maybe what happened next, like, kind of the like cliffhanger, and then what? It was his question.
That is a good question. Technology failure. Well, I mean, I guess if you count electricity, that's the one that I can think of. It was maybe like my third day on the job, and I had to work from home because my husband was gone on some work trip. I had the three girls with me, and I was planning on working from home, just, on my computer. And we had such a bad windstorm in our area that all the electricity got blown out. And I was like, oh my God, it's my third day of work. I can't not show up, So I felt
Yeah.
like really pressured. I had to find somewhere with electricity. And we went to like 3-4 different places. We went to Starbucks, it was out of electricity. We went to the mall, out of electricity. We went to my parents' house, was out of electricity. Finally, we wound up at my brother's house, and I think maybe I did like 1 hour of work. But the point for the whole thing was being adaptable, I guess. Was like, okay, we're gonna try and hope this works. And try not to die in the windstorm while we're
Yeah.
driving. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. It's good. It's great answer, and like great example. How does it work sometimes? Yes. And it's your turn, Lisa, to ask my next guest the question.
Okay. Well, one of my favorite questions that I always love to ask people is, if you could go back in time and go to your 22 or 23-year-old self who's just starting their career, basically, what would be the one or two things that you would tell them that you have learned and wish you knew back then?
Yes. Thank you, Lisa. And you know what we've done?
We're
Oh my
done.
God. 1 hour together. It's great. It was really great experience, and
Yeah, you too.
thank you. Yes, thank you, Lisa, like for
Thank you.
sharing your inspiring journey and valuable insights with me and with our listeners today. And it's been a pleasure delving into the world of career development with you, about leadership coaching and the human side of professional growth with you and about you. Yes, thank you for
Thank you
that.
so much. Thanks for having me. I really had a lot of fun.
Yes, and to our listeners, join us next Tuesday for another enlightening conversation on Love People Technology Learning podcast. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Until then, keep learning and stay curious. Bye.